Hello and welcome. My name is Solana. I'm with the Open Knowledge Foundation and I'm helping on a project called the AI Learning Labs, where we're working with organizations around the world who have things they want to accomplish with AI and are not sure how to do it. And then we bring folks together from the open knowledge community who have ideas for how to solve the challenges. We work together on solutions and we create these open meetings like today where we discuss what we learned, how we build things, and share the work in practice, really, how we do things so that others can learn from it as well. Today is a really exciting day because we are going to be sharing it's the first ever unveiling of a climate chatbot, a responsible climate chatbot, which is one of the first prototypes to come out of the AI Learning Labs. And we've brought together the team that built this prototype, who's going to tell us a little bit about how they built it, why they built it the way that they did. And then we're all going to get a chance to play with it and try to break it and test it, and then have a conversation about what we think about it. Maybe some of you all are thinking about similar things that you would like to build or have already built. We're looking forward to hearing from you all as well, so that it can be a bit of an interactive session. But I want to go ahead and just begin with talking about the story. I'd like to introduce Geeta in India and Matthew in Europe. And I think both of you could give a short introduction to yourselves and explain how you came together in this project and what is it you're doing? Why a climate chatbot?
Great, thank you. Should I start? Yeah. So I've been doing the Climate Academy for several years, and I wrote this student book, and which is the core part of the program. And I was in Cambridge University for an event there with the Climate Academy, and this guy walked in who was called Peter, brackets surname Murray Rust, brackets kangaroos. And he walked in, and the first thing he said when he walked in the room was, "I'm looking for somebody who has written a summary of IPCC science in a kind of readable way." And that's the weirdest opening line anybody would say. And oddly, I was the person that's like, okay, then we have something in common. And of course, Geeta can talk about the semantic climate side of the story, but that was my side of the story. I was just trying to get, through this project at Cambridge at the time, this material well understood, and I bumped into somebody who was dedicated to science from a different direction. So that's my little starter.
Thank you, Matthew. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Great. I think I have a background noise, but if you can hear me, then that's great. It's wonderful to be here today. Welcome everybody to the launch of the CABot. I think more than anything, this launch, this event today, all of us together, is for me really the story of an unlikely collaboration between people who otherwise would not have met or been here, done this together. Peter and I have been friends for almost a decade. And a few years ago, Peter basically introduced me, not a few years ago, wasn't it last year? Literally 2025, Matthew. So Peter introduced us last year, and Peter knew that although, we, both me and Matthew, we come from very different worlds, we share a common belief that knowledge has got to be open, trustworthy, and accessible to everybody. And this is something that Peter and I have been doing for over 10 years in semantic under different names, but essentially trying to make knowledge available to everybody. And Matthew, on his part, of course, has spent years building the Climate Academy, and he's written this remarkable book that I saw for the first time when he came to India, and he and I together went around looking at different schools, research organizations, ministries, people, governments, tech startups, talking about or explaining about climate change, and trying to basically say that climate is not a science, but it's a system story. It connects science with history, philosophy, politics, psychology, and above all, society and people. And semantic, as Solana just mentioned, semantic has been developing methods. So Peter and I within semantic, with a lot of young people, have been developing methods to extract knowledge from scientific literature, from papers, books, data sets, URLs, and we are representing that in a machine readable manner to make it FAIR, findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable, but more importantly, fully AI ready, responsibly fully AI ready. So what we realized when Matthew and I met, and we spent a lot of time in Delhi last year together, we realized that we are basically asking the same question, but from two different directions. Matthew is constantly trying to ask, you talk to him and you'll realize he's asking, how do we help people understand climate? Students, it might be students, citizens, retired people, local councils, government officers, bureaucrats, or each other. The question that Peter and I have been asking in semantic is, how do we help machines understand knowledge, right? And CABot today is where these two questions have basically amalgamated. So this wouldn't have happened without the Open Knowledge Foundation. When the Open Knowledge Foundation launched the AI Learning Labs, it gave us the perfect opportunity to turn that shared vision that we had into something tangible. And what there are many things I'm proud of today, and I'm so proud that we are launching the CABot finally, is not that we've built it, we've done something, but how we built it. Because this is not done by a large tech hub. It is not done by a commercial AI company or a lab. This is built by an extraordinary team of young researchers, and I've just been spending the last 10 minutes writing their names on my phone so that I don't miss out on anybody. This wonderful team of interns and software developers in India have been working together with educators from the Climate Academy and supported by colleagues at the Open Knowledge Foundation. And within a few months, we have been together, we've been able to transform these ideas into a multilingual, browser-based, source-grounded climate assistant that anybody can use right here on your devices, whatever you have access to. And for me, the most exciting part is that the CABot is demonstrating something bigger than itself. Small, distributed, open teams of happy people can do so much more than what they initially thought that they could. You see, and in a world where you have enormously increasing numbers of black box AI systems, perhaps the future that we all want is something like the CABot. And so I'm incredibly proud once again of the Semantic Climate team, my own team, led by our program manager, Renu Kumari, the technical lead of and the RAG engineer. I call her a RAG engineer, and we rag her all the time, Udita Agrawal. Ali Mehdi Naqvi, he's the backend developer of the CABot. Alina Harold, front end. Sarthak did all the documentation. And Parth Udhav did the content creation. Samyukta, Lynn, and Misha Ali did our testing. So very glad to be launching CABot today. Does that answer your question, Solana?
It does. It does.
Okay.
Well, I think what interested me so much about the project when I heard about the challenge was also, I think what we're all familiar with is that young people expect to learn things via chatbot increasingly. And on the other hand, you think, well, climate and AI famously doesn't go very well hand in hand together because it also has a big climate footprint. But I think it's this tension that we have in the open knowledge community and generally people who work on digital rights, is that we want to use AI or understand AI and how we can use it to our advantage, even though we take a critical stance on some of the negative aspects of it, or of the business models, or the way that it functions, or how it collects knowledge. So there's this critical lens that we apply to AI when we think about how to use it. But we don't want to hold ourselves back from giving ourselves an opportunity to make something good from these tools, from using these tools. And I think that was something that attracted me to the project, was how both of your projects had this critical lens on climate change in general and how we talk about climate change, and then also about how we build technology from the bottom up, the way that we build in community, the way that we use data. And I think it provides an interesting example of how a small organization with very few resources can build stuff, because that's another thing. There are a lot of people in different organizations or communities who would like to build things with AI, but feel intimidated by it, or feel intimidated by the things they don't know, or that it's super difficult, or the cost, and on and on. So I think the more that we start experimenting with different ways to solve these challenges, the more we can learn together what is genuinely useful, what is not. And that's why I think that this is exciting also in the way that we all acknowledge that this is a prototype and that is a work in progress and something that we keep learning from. And I wanted Udita, I'm going to hand the microphone to you in a moment, because we want to hear about some of these design decisions that you helped make with the whole team. And while we do this, in case, let's see if multitasking works, we've prepared a little Menti poll for people. There's a link in the chat. And it's a very basic question. It's just, what's the first word that you associate with climate and AI? And this hat tip to Gita for coming up with this question, and the idea of using the Mentimeter. But if you answer this question, then I'll share it like a word cloud later, after we hear a bit from Udita about how and why, and how did you put this together?
Okay, so can I share my screen?
Solana, can I just mention that we are not seeing that question on Menti. We are seeing a different question about CABot. What are we wanting to ask CABot, rather than the question you want us to be asked. Okay,
I'll fix that.
Yeah,
I'll fix that. Hang on.
Over to you, Udita.
Hi, Solana, can you please tell me how to share my screen, because I'm not seeing the option of sharing my screen. Okay, now I have the permission. Yeah.
Yeah, you should have it now.
Yeah.
It's on the right side, lower bottom.
Yes, now I have the permission to share. Is my screen visible, guys? Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, hello, everyone. So, as you already know, I am Udita Agarwal, and I am the RAG engineer behind it, and also the technical manager behind this CABot. So, today I'm just going to give you an overview about CABot, basically Climate Academy Chatbot that we have built. So, the Climate Academy Chatbot that we have built, it is based on the RAG-based architecture, and it is developed by Semantic Climate team to make sure that we provide climate knowledge to everyone, and we provide truthful climate knowledge. It should come from a trusted sources. And so to make sure about that, and the climate knowledge advert that you will see in a bit now, it has 8 languages. So the person can choose between different languages they want to talk about. If they want to talk in English, they can talk in English. If somebody wants to talk in French, they can talk in French. So this is the kind of an overview of the Climate Academy chatbot that we have built as a team. So now one of the main problem I would say that while we were building this chatbot was one question that we had in mind, that we want to make sure that a user gets truthful knowledge, that whatever the answer that we are providing the user, it should be truth. It should not be okay, like we need to provide the answer, so we will just provide anything. We didn't want it that. So how can we make sure about that? So we brainstormed about that. So First was that we needed to build a RAG-based chatbot, but for the RAG-based chatbot, we needed to have a knowledge base. And we needed to have a knowledge base. So when we think about the knowledge base, it's basically the knowledge that we will be providing our chatbot to answer the question. So now to provide the knowledge base, we have to be absolutely sure about the knowledge sources. The knowledge sources cannot be anything that we find on the internet. It cannot be something we needed to be absolutely sure from where that knowledge was coming and whether the knowledge was true or not. So right now, whatever answers that you will see the chatbot is answering, it is coming from these two sources that you're seeing on the screen right now. So first is the climate glossary or the encyclopedia that we have built at Semantic Climate using Semantic Climate Toolkit. So what it contains, it is like a normal glossary. It contains climate related terms and the definitions to that. And the keywords that are coming, they are coming from the IPCC report, AR6 report, and the definition of that keywords is coming from Wikipedia. So we are absolutely sure that the information is true. So this is our first source, and our second source is of course the Climate Academy book, which was written by Matthew Pye. And Matthew has already discussed about it, like how he has, like you heard him, like Peter came to him and asked that he wanted someone who summarized the book at in IPCC, have summarized IPCCs and everything. And I think the Climate Academy book do justice to the knowledge. So we had these two knowledge sources. So everything, and whenever a chatbot answer using these two sources. So now we've had sources sorted out, right? So when you will see the Climate Academy book in just a few seconds, you will see that it has this multiple features. First is multiple language support. It supports 8 different languages. You can talk into 8 different languages. And also, after you had a long chat with the chatbot and you think, okay, I want to save this chat, I want to save this chat with me, or I want to provide it to somebody else, you can also download your chat. We have a user. Multiple user can access this at the same point of the time, and it is a RAG-based retrieval. It is based on the RAG-based architecture. It has source attribution. So whenever you will see an answer that a chatbot answers, it does not just give an answer. It also tells you from which page, from which chapter of the book it has taken that answer, or from which keyword in the encyclopedia and the glossary is taken the answer from that. So you are absolutely sure, okay, the answer that I'm getting is from source-cited. It is not something rubbish that the AI is giving me. It is truthful. And second is it is a web interface. It is secure. It has SSL certificate and everything. Strict grounding. Our chatbot will not give you answer or information about question he does not have any knowledge about. The knowledge which are not provided in the knowledge source. So if you ask about any actors or what is going into the entertainment world, the chatbot will not answer because it does not have information regarding that. It will only answer questions that are related to climate, questions whose answers is present in the knowledge source. And acynic processing, so multiple user can access at the same point in the time, and also the answers that you are getting are fast. It is not like for one answer you have to wait for 1 or 2 minutes, you get into a few seconds. Our chatbot. These are the key features of the chatbot that you will see. This is the 8 languages that are supported by a chatbot. So you can either talk to a chatbot in English, you can talk to in Hindi, French, Arabic, Mandarin, Portuguese, German, Spanish. In any of the 6 languages, you can talk to a chatbot and they will give you accurate information regarding the climate. So it is accessible to any person. Now, before coming to this, now I have told you about chatbot. So now the second thing is how, when I say RAG, so how does this RAG really works and how can we trust it? So I am going to explain you what this is, the basic RAG or the pipeline structure that you follow to make sure that the answers that you are getting are correct and they are source-cited. So what you have at the first that you're seeing is that you have this HTML book. So you can take any book or HTML book. We had an HTML book and encyclopedia. So you parse them into different sections. For example, like the Climate Academy book, it has sections such as chapter summary, introduction, main text, conclusion. So you parse them into different sections. After passing them into different sections, you create small chunks of the words that you have. After your small chunks, let's say 150 words, a chunk is, you create embedding. Embedding is just that the paragraph that you have, you convert them into numbers, basic a number. Because as you already know, like this is a very famous line that computer is a dumb language. They do not understand English or Hindi. They only understand the language of mathematics. So that is why we need to convert them into numbers. And after you have created them into numbers, you store them into the vector store that you are present here. So this is the knowledge base that you're creating. So now, whenever the user will ask a query, let's say what are the greenhouse gases that are present here. So what happens is whenever the user will ask a question, so this retriever that you're saying is that it will go to our vector stores and fetch top five chunks that answers the user query. It will get that answer, give it to the LLM, pass it to the LLM, and the LLM will generate an answer for you. And let's say if the user asks a question like what let's say what is Amy or what is Amy or what is Amy, so he will not be able to answer it. Then also it will go to the vector store, but they will not find any answer of who is Amy, what is Amy, and it will just return the knowledge that I could not find any knowledge in the Climate Academy materials. Simple as that. So you will not get any information that is not related to Climate Academy book. So this is the entire RAG, basic architecture of the RAG system that we have built. So now again, because now we are going to reveal a chatbot in just a few minutes. So how can you use a chatbot? It is a simple chatbot. It has kind of the same interface as you see. We try to keep it the same interface of another chatbot that are already present in the market. So you can open the chatbot, the link that we will provide. You can select the languages there. There's an option to select different languages. You can ask the question in one of those 8 languages. And after you've asked a question, it will provide you the answer. There is a button there, the chatbot that you can click on to download your chat. And if you face any issues, because right now it is only version 1 of the chatbot, so while you're using it, and if you find okay, this are the improvement that you can make, you can also report an issue to us on the GitHub repository. So now, like this is our core team. They are the people behind the chatbot. They are the people who have made sure this Climate Academy chatbot was built. So first is Peter. Peter, he's someone who sits with us daily for 4 hours, 5 hours to make sure that it works, give us new direction, how to make sure. There's Gitanjali ma'am, who has always who made sure that we get the sources, we get the sources that we require to make sure that chatbot is available. Like whenever we say that okay, we need this to make it happen, so she always say okay, let's do it. Renu ma'am, she's a program manager and she makes sure that all of us stay connected and there is never a communication gap between us, and that is very important when we talk about to build us, because I think one of the most important reason why most of the chatbot or most of the program fails is because there is not good communication between people. So they make sure that everybody knows what is happening. And this is me, like I'm the person who has worked on the RAG part of the RAG architecture, and also the technical program manager of it. There's Alina, she has worked on the front end of the system, and Shreya has also worked on the front end with Alina. Ali is someone who has worked on the back end. So when you see that multiple people are able to access it, he's the person behind that. He was the person who made sure this magic can happen. Sarthak has also worked on the back end and also on the documentation. And he's also made a very good video, which I will show you in a few minutes. And this is our testing team. We have Parth, we have Misha, and we have Samyukta, and when I say Samyukta, and then they are high school students when I say you, and they have given me such good results, and testing the results, I was okay. They were really good when they were doing that. So they were high school students, so we can make sure that they were like, okay, for them this was important. So we can say that, okay, this is working for high school students. These are the acknowledgements that I want to give first for semantic climate, to make sure that all of this, that such a big team can come up and work together. NIPGR to provide us the resources to host this Climate Academy bot. OKFN to provide us this opportunity to build this Climate Academy book, and of course Climate Academy to provide us the source to build the CABot. This is the video I was talking about, and Sarthak has built this, so let me just play it. And this explains why the chatbot is necessary, because you get and your answer generated. So this is the kind of the answer that you will see at the end. And the sources here. So this is the video that they have created for us. So now I guess you can open the chatbot. I will paste the link here in the.
I wonder if I could ask one question before Adita, because I'm seeing in the Menti where people were asking the questions, or where people were inputting the words that they associate with climate change. I wonder if, well, I can't show it right now, but the two huge words in the word cloud are hallucination and trustworthy. And a lot of people are worried about hallucination. I think you spoke to that very well in your presentation. You explained how it will always show information that is based on text in its in the material that you've used. The other questions or the other words that are showing up in the word cloud are around environmental footprint and resources and data centers and energy. And I wonder if you could just speak to, because I know you thought about this as well, but if you could just explain, how did you make this chatbot lightweight? Lightweight so that it would have less of an environmental impact and perhaps also be more useful for people with slow internet connections.
Okay, so when we talk about lightweight, so I think one of the most important decisions that we took while building the chatbot was that we need an LLM model to build this. So when we were building, when we were using it, so we in the market we saw that there are a lot of LLM models. There are LLM models by Meta, there are LLM models by OpenAI, by Cloud, and everything. So how do we decide that which LLM model works for us and also does not affect the environment? So first, we used Llama 3.170 billion parameters. So while we were using it, it was giving good questions and answers. But we thought that why do we need the 70 billion parameter models? Because it is just affecting the carbon. It is making sure that more carbon footprints are there and using the energy sources. But do we actually need a 70 billion parameter models, or can we make sure that can we use a different model with less parameters? So we were searching it. So we have tried different parameters models. We have gone from 70, we go on for 34 billion parameters models, and like that. 34 billion parameter models and like that. So it was also giving the good question answer. So like that, we decreased the models, we decreased the parameters the model was using, and then we came across Llama 3.18 billion parameter model that we are using right now in the chatbot. So this was working good. This was working fine. Like then it was working fine and well for a chatbot. It was giving good answers. It was not hallucinating, and it was working well with a chatbot. So we even went below that, but that was not working well for us. It was not giving good questions, and it was not able to answer. It was not able to answer the question. So this is how we had this mind. This is how we had made sure that it was responsible and it was not affecting the climate. We just used what we needed, not because it was provided, it was given to us, or it was provided in the internet. So we didn't use that. We just used what we needed. This is how we make sure that we were responsible.
Amazing. Great response. So there are also interesting answers in the chat from Gita, but I think we could go ahead and share the link to the chat if everyone is ready. I can also, I'll give you presenter mode again, Udita, if you want to show it in action.
Yes, of course.
And I think the invitation now, with with the consent of the team, is that you play with it. Those of you who are here, ask it a difficult question, ask it a question in another language, ask it a controversial question, see if you can find something that it can't answer. We welcome you to play with it and confuse it. And in a couple of minutes, we'll ask you, in case you want to share, you can speak or you can type, but we'll ask you what was your experience with it, what suggestions do you have for the team, or what were some reflections that you have based on what you've done so far? Perhaps you could give us a tour while people are playing on their own. Udita, if you could show us what would be, how would you imagine a user would come to this and use it for the first time?
Okay, so when you open the chatbot, this is the first screen that you will see. So this is the first screen that you will see, and so this is the option for the language. There are the 8 languages that you present here, so you can choose any of the language that you want to speak, whether you want to speak in Spanish, Portuguese, Mandarin. So right now I'm going with English, and when you click on new conversation, so new chat. So you can have multiple chats here. For example, I can just ask what is that 0. So here it is. Removal, and then you can also export. You click on this option, you get an export. You go here, you have an txt, you have a question, and you have an answer to that. So like that, you can ask different questions. You have sources like that. And now if you go to a new conversation, a new page opens for you. You can ask, explain the greenhouse effect. It is there. It gives you an answer. This is the greenhouse effect. It gives you the sources. Or what are the sources that are present from the sources from which it has generated this answer. So the yellow ones are the golden ones that you are saying is from the encyclopedia, and the blue ones are from the book. So
and if you click on these, you don't get sent to the book.
No, that is not something we do, right? Yeah. Yes. Alright. So yeah, this is the chatbot, and please play with us and tell us how it is going. And also, if you want to visit to Semantic Climate and want to see what the Semantic Climate is doing, so you can just click on this logo of Semantic Climate, and you can go to the homepage of Semantic Climate, and you will see what Semantic Climate is working on. Okay,
I wonder is there anybody in the chat, in the call, who would like to say anything or ask a question? Ravi, would you like to voice your question? Then you're very welcome to, or I will ask it.
I'm happy to voice my question. I asked, is it too late to mitigate anthropogenic climate change? And the response was, I could not find that in the Climate Academy materials. The reason I ask about that is I've been working on rapid decarbonisation for 30 years, and our solution space is getting increasingly tight.
I wonder, Matthew, if that's a question for you?
Yeah, great question. And I think this, your point in that question points at one of the things which we need to develop in the chatbot, which is an ability to navigate between the data, the details, and let's say system level truths, which are, there's always a tension, even within science itself, between what does the data argue, so that's an absolutely critical question. The position of the Climate Academy textbook, I'm going to say my position, is that often when you go into UN sources, then actually there's even a level of misinformation there, in that the way in which the carbon budgets are calculated by, for example, the UNFCCC, is that they include massive amounts of negative emissions, which are unproven. So there's an important job to do to get clarity about those system questions, like how close are we to breaking the system? And one final word on that. Just a few weeks ago, the UNEP produced its own chatbot, which was called Environment GPT, and I tested that chatbot because, of course, we've been doing this over a few weeks. They must have been doing it over a long period of time. And when I asked that chatbot about tipping points, or why should I be worried about 2 degrees, it didn't seem to be aware of, it didn't bring into the answer the concept of tipping points. So there's one thing to have literacy about the details about scientific concepts and about the data. It's another thing to have like a systems literacy. And that's a big challenge for us as we develop the chatbot. But the groundwork is there. We just need to add those advanced facilities to it. I hope that answers the question.
I think you're also highlighting something interesting that we could have mentioned also in the introduction, is that there are a lot of climate chatbots out there. And there are some projects that are really kind of very expansive, where they try and take on like a huge challenge and many journal articles and different things. And then you have like the one that you mentioned under the auspices of the UN. There are a couple of different UN chatbots that are chatbots for interacting with a specific set of documents in the UN universe. And I think what you're trying to do with this chatbot is give a very specific version, right? Like you're talking about systems change, you're talking about a vision that's very connected to the information ecosystem that you're trying to build with your project, the Climate Academy. So in a way, the chatbot makes sense in the context of the work that you're doing already. So perhaps you wouldn't expect somebody to just use this out of the blue without knowing who you are.
True. I think ultimately, I would love it to have a wider audience than just, because I think this system blindness, which the media have, because this question about how close are we, is it reversible, these are the key critical questions. And indeed, when you go into specific bots, like you explained, there's a sort of illiteracy about that, which is really weird. I mean, absurd, I would say, because those system truths are they're not accidental truths. Those are the central truths. We always have to be aware of, well, what does it all add up to? And we have this odd blindness about that. So, yeah, I think it's, in some ways, it's a niche thing to do, but the fact that it's a niche thing to do is crazy. This should be the thing which everybody's conscious of. So, yeah, that's...
Robert, did you have a follow-up comment?
Just a very brief comment about including numerics within the domain of the chatbot world, and I'll post something into the chat to explain a little more what I mean.
I'm seeing a lot of comments and suggestions in the chat. I wonder if anyone from Semantic Climate team would like to pick one and respond to it or reflect on it.
If I may just say that we've been doing a lot of testing with the CABot, and we are making notes of the comments that we see today in the chat of this meeting. But one of the most interesting questions or comments that I found, which we have not over the last several weeks of testing by all sorts of people, we've not, Francois Jourdain, I loved your point about including a feature to accommodate dyslexia and people who may dyslexic people. I think that, Udita, would you like to take that? I think we can absolutely do it.
Yes, I think we can. This is something like while we were testing, one thing that we have noticed is that if we misspell the word, so that the chatbot is not able to answer the question, because then the embedding is wrong, like the mathematics is wrong behind it. So this is something that we have thought that we will include in the version 2 of the chatbot, like why it is happening and if we can solve this problem. And one thing is that we can use the LLM to do that. Is like before the embedding gets in, make sure like before the query gets in, we will just put besides an LLM, and the LLM will make sure that the user query, even if it is the spelling is wrong, correct its spelling, and then go for the entire process of embedding and the RAG architecture, everything. So this is one solution that we have in mind, and we will introduce in the version 2 of the chatbot to make sure that even dyslexic people are able to use it. And second question is that I am seeing that someone in the chat has asked whether the chatbot is partially or fully open source. So the chatbot is fully open source. So you can find its code on Semantic Climate GitHub repository. And I have also mentioned here, if you go to Semantic Climate GitHub repository, if you give the type Semantic Climate GitHub repository is there, Semantic Rack, so you will find the entire code that we have used to build this chatbot. So it is fully open source. If you need to build it, you can use that so suitably. Thank you.
I wonder if anybody else would like to voice a question or a comment. I can share that my first question I asked it was if it could write me an essay about climate change. I said, I'm in the 8th grade, please write me an essay. And it said, I cannot do that. I do not have that information. I wonder if anybody else would like to share what they asked or anything else that they observed. Then you can put your hand up.
Peter, would you like to give your comments on how you felt the mentorship with the interns in India went through this whole project with the AI learning labs?
First of all, Geeta and I have been running internships for 6 or 7 years, and many of our interns have not only helped during the project, but they have become stars in the outside world as well. So our emphasis is always learning by doing. We create tasks for people to do, and those tasks, they have to learn. We often have to learn as well. We don't know how to do various things, so we work together as a team to work this out. And just to say, our newest recruit from 2 days ago, Vrinda, is going to help us over the summer, and she is learning by doing as we speak at the moment. So does that answer the question?
Back to you, Solana.
I think it absolutely does answer the question. One question that I had for the people here in the chat is if you've built anything similar yourselves. Did you come here because you would like to build something like this, or you have a specific interest in this? You're welcome to ask questions of the team or to share a piece of work that you have, something you would like to share with us or like us to look at. You're very welcome to share or self-promote, however you see it. Yes, and it is a prototype that we're building. I think we're extremely proud of the process and the goals of the project, and I'm delighted that the team plans to continue working on it and updating it and is welcoming feedback. This is like the official unveiling, so we haven't shared the link publicly until now, but you're very welcome to share it in your networks, with your friends, with young people, and take a look also at the Climate Academy book and the Semantic Climate website. I mean, Semantic Climate is also a citizen science project, so I think there are also different opportunities for pitching into the work that they're doing there, which is really lovely. Yeah, I think from my side, this is last chance for people to make comments in the chat or put up their hands, but otherwise I would welcome Geeta and Matthew and others from the team for any final last words before we end the call.
Just amazed and amazingly grateful for the team. It was really in such a short space of time to do something so effective, and the questions that are being raised in the chat now are really helpful. And yeah, please do always give feedback. There's many things that we'd love to add to this bot, many deeper layers and things, and the project will go on, I hope, into many more iterations.
Thank you, Matthew.
Solana, a quick question. The AI Learning Labs is part of a larger grant that OKF has had from the McGovern Foundation. How do you see this going within the OKF School of Data and wider community?
Yeah, well, part of what we want to do with the AI Learning Labs will be, I mean, this is one project and we're working with a couple of other projects. And part of what we're wanting to explore is replicability. So how can we document what this team did and make it possible for others to do similar work? And we are planning on adding some resources to Open Knowledge's platform that's called the School of Data, which is a learning resource where different guides for things that people can learn to do with tech, but we haven't made it yet. But I know Gita and I are meant to start plotting on the specifics of how to do it soon. So there will be a resource that we'll be sharing through the Open Knowledge channels where we can see exactly like how to build a climate chatbot, and you can also build this. And that's part of the concept of the AI Learning Labs, is that we do a practical piece of technical work, build some prototypes that are really like have real world applications for organizations in different parts of the world, and then we turn that into a learning resource that will be available in different languages. But we're not ready. We're not ready to show anything yet, but that will come soon. And yes, this work is supported by the McGovern Foundation, who are really interested in AI literacy and learning about AI literacy, and how do we learn to do AI better together is basically the shortest way to explain what this is all about.
And can you hear me, Solana? Everyone? Yeah, so I want to close on the fact that having Matthew had mentioned so much about democracy and democratizing knowledge, and Peter about how we widen and expand this, and where we've been coming from. As myself, as somebody coming from the global south, I believe that the most exciting innovations in machine intelligence in the next decade are definitely going to come from collaborations just like this, not from the big companies that we've been watching get all the greatest awards in the world. Yes, that they've laid the foundation, but the next decade and the innovations of the next scale are going to come from educators like you and me, from students like our interns, from researchers that work with us, and communities like ours that work together across these boundaries that separate us. And CABot is proof that it is not impossible, that this can indeed be done. And I hope that we launch through this, not just the bot itself, but launch and initiate many more communities to build AI that is open, that is responsible, that is truly serving society. And I sincerely thank you all for being here today. Please let us keep the conversation going. That is what I want to end on. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Likewise, if anybody wants to be in touch with me or folks at the Open Knowledge Foundation, I'll put my email in the chat. I know a couple of other people did that as well.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Say what you wish.
Ma'am, yes, my name is Devashish Nandi. I'm from India, and I just heard Gitanjali ma'am speaking about this weather changes. So Gitanjali, I would like to ask is that how is an AI helpful for the farmers? Because Gitanjali ma'am knows very well that in our country, the farmers are illiterate. They can't even read and write. Yet the farmers, they know the weather patterns. Although the weather pattern is changing fast, very fast. That is my question.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so thank you for the question. And I'm very well aware about Indian farmers because we've been working for a long time with a lot of researchers and groups as well as companies that help farmers take their work to the next level or take their produce to the next level. So it is true, you're absolutely right, that AI is not here to tell farmers what they already know. And let me assure you, absolutely, farmers possess generations of lived knowledge about their land, about the climate around their land. What AI can do, and what I can assure you, that is not part of the CABot today, but it is a conversation that we've been having for years with farmers and with stakeholders in Indian agriculture. AI can and does complement that expertise that farmers have, that generations of lived knowledge that farmers have, by making scientific information, weather forecasts, things like pest management advice, crop recommendations, and government schemes above all, more accessible and in local languages. You don't need to be educated, as long as the AI can talk to them in local languages, which is something Udita has been explaining today for so long. At the right time, I believe that we do achieve, or hope to, or stand to achieve, the goal to combine local wisdom with global science, and rather than replacing them with each other. I hope that answers your question. Does it?
Thank you, Geeta. I think that's a great answer. And I've...
Hello?
Mhm.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
May I just put forth my question? Ma'am, you you really put it very nicely, but the thing is that over here in India, the farmers really, they don't trust the government, and we can't have much faith in corporates. Please get this point. Okay, so it's like we trust the weather, we trust Mother Earth. This is important. The farmers, they need to trust Mother Earth. And regarding, we can't trust the government and corporates. And as far as AI is concerned, since a farmer, they cannot read, so the farmer can only speak. And that means the AI has to understand the voice, like I'm talking right now. I'm speaking English. But if I speak in my mother language, nobody will understand. So like I'm speaking to you right now, and you're listening to it, and then you're replying back to me. So you're not AI. You're a human being who is listening to me through a device, and then understanding my question, you are replying back to me. Now over here, I'm using English as a medium of language because it's something which all of us understand in common. But over here, the farmers don't know English. In fact, they're just their own language. Are you getting my point? So the AI has to understand that, but the farmers, and also speak like the way you're speaking to me and answering to me. The AI has to speak like that and tell things, give information to the farmers through speech. That's up to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Mast.
Geeta,
we have 1 minute left.
Okay, I would just like to take that 1 minute to just say, Solana, that in India, the Anganwadi women speaking in local languages use AI all the time. Avadhwani AI for Social Good has done incredible work for brassica and cotton in India, but this is not the platform to give such examples. I think you need to read a little bit, my dear. Thank you, Solana. Back to you.
And I think it's also, we have different versions of AI for different contexts. It's not just AI as this one thing that you can apply in any context. Just like I think the Climate Academy book is not what a farmer anywhere in the world needs, when they're standing in the field. But given a context and a learning process, it might be what you need when you're working with Matthew's team or when you're working with Semantic Climate. And this whole exercise and the way that we're thinking about learning about AI is also about adapting it to different situations and different contexts. And exactly, like, I agree with you, Mast, not assuming that it works for everybody in every language, but trying to be really specific about what we say it can do and how it does it, and trying to work with the tools that often do come from corporate entities. How can we shape them and adapt them to our different public interest goals? So with huge thanks for everybody for coming, for your time, for your curiosity. Thank you, and stay in touch, and goodbye. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Wonderful.